More and more people are using AI now, but are we crossing a line? Are we using it to replace human connection now? That's what I want to talk about today in this video. Let's delve into it. So people are probably using AI more than Google now as a search engine, I would say. I could hazard a guess and say that. Could you agree with that one? And I would say a lot of us are using it as a business tool. It might be to help with YouTube, it might be to help with business in general. It's getting used more and more for that kind of thing. But I've noticed that we're starting to sound a lot like AI. I've even written a Substack on that. So if you want to delve into that a little bit more, you can go and check that out. But, you know, we're hearing the word quietly a lot more than we used to. I'll just say that. And comparative language as well. So I'll leave you to read the rest. But yes, we're starting to sound a lot more like AI when you really notice it. And I've even heard of people using it to diagnose themselves rather than go and see a professional person. Now, I know there's an argument there. You might not be able to get to see your doctor, right? I get that. But we're putting a lot of emphasis on what AI is saying. You know, we're holding a lot of weight with it. If we're going to AI with it, you know, to help diagnose a medical issue, we're giving that a lot of weight, aren't we? There's a lot of trust going in AI rather than a human being. Something else I've noticed is that we're actually starting to befriend AI. Do you have a name for your AI? Do you call it something? I know people that do that. And that can just be jest. There's no harm in that, right? But it's you know, these blurred lines. What next? What next? So when I talk about befriending AI, it could be like you needing to get validation from it. You're actually wanting validation from this friend that you've created, right? He knows everything about you. So he's going to give you a better answer than your friend. So that's an issue because we're needing that validation. I noticed it myself. One day I was doing something with chat, something business related, like YouTube stuff, and kids are playing. Hope you can hear me okay. So I was using one chat version and it wasn't giving me the responses like it used to. And I was like, huh, I don't like how he said that. So then I'd heard people talk about Claude. So that was ChatGPT. Then I'd heard someone talk about Claude and I'd never used it at this point. So I thought, I'm going to see what Chat's got to say, what Claude's got to say. And I found myself changing AI tools for that reason, because he wasn't giving me, or it wasn't giving me, some external validation that I needed at the time. And I was like, at that point, I was like, whoa, I feel like I'm crossing a line here. I feel like it's becoming more than just an AI tool. And this is a weird one, but I heard this the other day of people marrying their AI. Have you come across that one? Don't even know how that would work or what that looks like, or if it's a real thing even, but I have heard that. I guess the reason for this is it's easier than humans. The world's got so busy, we've got so busy, we don't know what's right, wrong, up or down anymore, and life just has got a bit difficult. And I think we've started to reach for the easy option. You know, if we're on our laptops at night, or phones even, while Netflix is in the background, the kids are in bed, it's easier to have a relationship. It's almost one way, isn't it? You know, it's easier to have a one-way relationship with AI than it is to have a real human connection, because you've got to be in it emotionally. You've got to be in it real for the real connection with real human beings, right? It takes more effort. So I get it. I get why this is happening. But is it real connection? And do we need to remember this as we're transitioning in this period amongst AIs and humans? Do we need to remember what real connection is and not let it get swallowed up in this AI world? Not to say not to use AI, but I just think there's a line getting a bit blurry here now, and we need to be aware of it. I don't think, you know, you can't beat human connection with the right people. So it takes a bit of effort to find who your tribe are, who your community is. I get that. I'm doing that myself right now as we're traveling. But you can't share real life experiences with AI, you know, not really. You know, things like perimenopause. Get those symptoms out to a friend, you know, to someone who's going through it as well, not some robot that's just going to tell you do this, do that in very robot fashion, you know, can't really empathize with you, doesn't really understand what's going on. Similarly to family struggles, you know, AI doesn't know anything about that. So when you really connect with a mum or a dad that's going through what you are with similar style kids, that's real human connection. I've got an example from my younger days when I used to work on cruise ships, and I was like, I don't know, 21, 2 at the time. And I was in a long distance relationship. So I met a guy on a cruise ship, and then we never got on the same ship for a while after that. So we had this 5-year long distance relationship. And I remember I was in my favourite place in the whole world at the time, which was Hawaii. And I remember him on the phone while I was watching this amazing sunset over this amazing beach. I'd just watched a luau show, a real luau show with the hula hula girls and everything. And I'm on the phone and I'm like, you should be here. You know, I don't want to experience these things without you. Why are you not here? Like, what's the point? So if any of you have been through long distance relationships, you'll know about that. And, you know, there's a time where you keep going through and pushing, excuse me, and there's a time when you let that go, right? But my point is, that's how I could relate that to being in a relationship with AI. They're just not there with you. They're not seeing it. They're not seeing the real beauty through human eyes and feeling it, more importantly. Whereas if I'd had that guy in my life at the time there, that would have been so special and a real memory we could look back on. Can't do that with AI. You know, AI can't support you through the low times and celebrate the wins because, again, they don't feel it. They don't know it. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? Where are we going with AI? Have you heard this? Are you one of these people that have got really close with AI? I'd really love to know your thoughts on this. And if you want to know a little bit more about my thoughts on this, you can check out the Substack on that, on this very topic. I'll leave it in the description. And, you know, I'm saying this at the end of my videos until it actually happens and we go live, but I am actually going to start doing some lives where we can really get human connection. Yes, it's going to be online. It's going to be on a video live on YouTube, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. For all the reasons I've mentioned there, I really think it's a really important thing that we have human connection. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Much love. Bye for now.